welcome back. I'm the Deglutenizer, and today we're making my famous maple bourbon pecan pie. We're starting with the crust, which means I'm going to need, first of all, 9.2 ounces of a 1-to-1 gluten-free flour. Always make sure that your scale is zeroed out before you start measuring. And then simply add the amount of your ingredient that you need. There we go. 9.2 ounces of 1-to-1 gluten-free flour. So I'm going to zero out my scale again and add sugar until it shows 1.3 ounces. 1/4 teaspoon of non-iodized salt. 2.5 ounces of shortening. Finally, for my dry ingredients, I'm going to need 3/4 of a stick of butter. And to make my butter easier to incorporate into my crust dough, I'm going to go ahead and cut it into slices. Now I'm going to take my dry ingredients over to my mixer stand and pulse it several times until it has the texture of wet sand. So I've got my dry ingredients together in my food processor, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pulse it together several times until it starts to combine and look like wet sand. I may have to use my trusty rubber spatula to scrape down the sides a couple times. So here we go. So now I'm going to set this to the lowest speed possible, and I'm going to gradually add 5 to 6 tablespoons of ice cold water. Alright, my dough is just about perfect, and all that's left is to wrap it in plastic and let it sit in the fridge for about 2 hours. Alright, so I've got my plastic here. All that's left is to extract my dough from my processor and get it all wrapped up. Alright, so I've turned out my dough. All that's left is to mash it into a brick-like shape using the plastic to help me smush it together. So there is my pie crust dough. All that's left is to throw it in the fridge for about 2 hours. Alright, so it's been about 2 hours. My flour should have absorbed all of the water and hydrated properly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just weigh my dough. And depending on the weight, I'll know exactly how much to put into each of my 2 pie plates. Let's see here. 18 ounces. So that's going to be 9 ounces in each pie plate. So my oven's preheating to 350, and now I just need to press my dough into shape. Alright, my crusts have been shaped. Now all that's left to do with these is blind bake them while I prepare my filling. On my crust blind bake, I need to whip up my filling. So I'm going to start off by measuring my pecans. I'm looking for 3 cups of pecans, and I am using pecan halves. So I've got my 3 cups of pecans, and I'm going to set these aside until it is time to actually fill the pies. Next up, I need 3/4 of a cup of packed light brown sugar. You could use dark brown if you like more of that molasses flavor. So here's 1/2 and 1/4. So now I'm going to start with my liquids, beginning with 1 cup of light corn syrup, 1/4 cup of maple syrup, the real stuff if you please, 1/4 cup of bourbon, 2 tablespoons of butter, melted, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and my melted 2 tablespoons of butter. Whisk together to help that corn syrup thin out a little bit. And whisk this together to break up the brown sugar and combine my ingredients. Now before I add my eggs, I want to go ahead and check on my crusts because the eggs should be added at the last possible second to my liquid filling before I pour it all together into the crust. Those need another few minutes, so I'm going to hold off on my eggs until I'm ready to actually pull the crusts out and fill them. Alright, so my crusts have blind baked to perfection. I'm going to go ahead and add my 3 eggs. And whenever cracking eggs, make sure to always crack on a flat surface. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop my yolks and mix this together. Alright, so I need to divide my pecans evenly between my pie shells. Alright, so slowly pour my mixture over. And again, trying to divide it evenly between my 2 pies. Alright, so I want to make sure that each pecan is coated in the liquid filling, so that way I don't have any dry, burned pecan spots on top of my pie once these have finished baking. And back into the oven for about 50 to 60 minutes. So my pies are done, which means I need to pull them out and put them on these racks to cool. Ooh, so shiny. There we go. So these will need to cool down, probably for about 2 hours or so. And then when they have reached room temperature, I can slice and serve. Y'all, my pie has cooled down, which means it's time for my favorite part of the video, where I get to actually taste the pie. So, I already know this is going to be delicious, but, you know, what cook doesn't appreciate some quality control? Oh. So the pecans, the filling, and the crust are still, you know, kind of separate entities where you get the buttery flakiness with a little bit of crispness from the crust. You've got that sweet, gooey filling, and then you've got the crunchy, slightly toasty pecans, just kind of mostly sitting on top. And oh my god, it's perfection. Honestly, this pie makes me wish I could do some kind of witchcraft and make Thanksgiving tomorrow, because Thanksgiving is actually my favorite holiday. I love being able to just kick everybody out of my kitchen and get to work. So, this pie is just making me wish that I was doing that right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make my famous maple bourbon pecan pie, and I hope you'll give it a shot in your own kitchen this year. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll give it a like, leave a comment below, subscribe to my channel, and of course hit the notification bell so that way you can see when I publish new videos. If you really liked my content today, then I hope you'll consider becoming a patron on Patreon and helping me produce better content more frequently. Anyway, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of this pie, and I'll see you guys next time on the Deglutenizer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, I hope you'll consider supporting me on Patreon for just $2 a month. Patrons receive early access to content, early announcements for upcoming projects, and much more. Help me grow by becoming a patron today.